Math 3, Unit 1, Section 4. We have been talking about reflections. We are going, here, we've been learning about it, so I'm hoping this isn't going to be super difficult. But we are going to be stating our domain and range. I want us to state the domain and range two different ways. I want to do interval and inequality, okay? And then we are going to be translating this graph based on what it says here and writing our new domain and ranges, okay? Maybe not? All right, here we go. So the first thing I just want you guys to notice is the exact points. And this is why I want you to have a highlighter, is that we can highlight those exact points. On this graph, the domain. So starting with interval notation, and we remember that domain is dealing with all of our x values. We start at the left and work our way to the right. So what is my first domain value? -5, parenthesis or bracket? Good. -5, and it goes all the way, and there's no open circles. We don't have to worry about any stops, and it stops at 3, and that is also going to be a very good. Okay, now writing that in inequality form. Again, it just like how this one goes smallest to largest, inequalities also go smallest to largest. So we start with -5. Because this is a bracket, it's going to be, go ahead. No, I'm still on domain. I'm just writing it in a different form. So we wrote it in interval form, and I'm going to write it in inequality form. So the same thing written a different way. So this is where we use less than or equal to x and less than or equal to 3. This is saying that the domain is all values between -5 and 3. This also is saying the domain is between -5 and 3. Notice that there's an equal sign because it's the brackets and it does equal those values. If it didn't equal those values, it wouldn't have that equal sign underneath. Okay? When you're doing your homework, you don't have to write it both ways. I just want us to be familiar with both ways. Okay? All right, range. So now we're starting with the range. What is our smallest y value? Is that going to be a bracket or a parenthesis? And why is it a bracket? Very good. And we go up and we find that the largest range value is 0, also a bracket. So now we're going to write this one. This is interval form. We're going to write it in inequality form. Inequality form would be -4 is less than or equal to y, because we're dealing with the range, is less than or equal to 0. Any questions? Okay. This right here, this next box down, is saying f of x minus 3 plus 4. What do you think that is telling us to do? To graph it. This is our f of x function. So if this is f of x and this is f of x minus 3 plus 4, what am I going to do? We are going to, on the x value, we are going to go right 3, and on the y value we're going to go up 4. Okay, so this is telling us translate it right 3 up 4. Make sense? Okay, so to make your life easier, what I like to do is go and make x's at each of these points on this graph and then translate each point separately. Okay, so the first point, this point right here, is at -5, -3. And I'm going to put an x there. Now, because we are going to translate every single graph on this paper, I would go and make an x at -5, -3 on every single graph, all 4 of them. And remember that when we're making our x's, it's not our actual point, right? We're making that x, and then when we make our point, we'll do an actual point. So that -5, -3 came from that first highlighted point. Did I do something wrong?
Why are we doing it from the top graph?
So this graph right here, they've told us is f of x. So this is your original function, and then here they're wanting us to translate and move each of them from this original one and then make it to the translated one. Okay? But it's easier to have the original one here in order to move it. Okay? So the next point I'm going to mark on all of them is at what? -2, 0. So I'm marking -2, 0 on each of the graphs. Oops. Okay. And then the next one is at 0, 0, -2. So 0, -2, I'm going to mark that on all of them. And then we have 2, 4, or 2, -4. And then the last one is at what? 3. Good, 3, -3. Okay, so I'm going to stop for just 1 minute. Make sure you guys have it all marked. Does anybody have questions up to this point so far? Okay, so now all we're going to do then is take each of these points and go right 3, up 4. Now when I'm doing these, I go right 1, 2, 3, up 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my first point. When I do my second point, I like draw that line. Does that make sense? So now we're going to go to our second point, and it goes right 1, 2, 3, up 1, 2, 3, 4. And that was a straight line connecting those, so I'm going to draw that straight line. Because we're making the graph look just like this one while we're translating it. So the next one, right 1, 2, 3, up 1, 2, 3, 4. And that one, it's kind of like a part of a quadratic. So it's just like a little curve there, like that. Then we go right 1, 2, 3, up 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a straight line. And then the last one, right 1, 2, 3, up 1, 2, 3, 4, and draw one. Questions? Okay, what's my domain on this one? Yes? Okay, we're good? So what is my smallest domain value? -2. So we have bracket -2. What's my largest domain value? So we're going across. The largest one there is at 6. Okay? Can you guys write that in inequality form? It would be what? Perfect. Good job. -2 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 6. What is my range for this function? What is the smallest y value? 0. And then the largest is at 4. And let's go ahead and write that also in inequality form, which would be what? Perfect. Questions? Okay, we're good? All right. What does this one mean? What am I going to do? Good. So this one reflects across the x-axis. So this one is at -5, and so, or sorry, it's going down 1, 2, 3, so we're going to go up 3. This one is on the x-axis, so is it going to reflect? No. So we're going to make our point there, and we are going to draw our line. This one right here, we're going to go above the x-axis, 2. And this one, you have to think about it. So if you look at this original function, if this is reflecting over the x-axis, that curve is going to end up going like that. So you need to think about when it's flipping, like what it's going to look like. Okay? And then this one here, it's at -4, so that's going to be up to +4. And then we're going to draw our line. And then here, this one's at -3. We go up to +3. So remember, when you are reflecting across the x-axis, your original function, and if you wanted to draw your original function, you can, but it should fold on top of each other over the x-axis. Okay, and that's kind of a way to visually think about it. All right, we're going to move down to this one right here. What does it mean when you have f of -x? Very good. Reflects across or over the y-axis. Bless you. Okay. So this one right here. Oh, thank you. Good job. You can have a candy for making me not forget that. Okay. What is the domain on this one? -5 to 3. And in inequality notation? Perfect. Good job. Okay, and what's my range here? 0 to 4. And that inequality is? Perfect. Questions? All right. F of -x. So we are going to reflect that one now across the y-axis. So starting with this point right here, going across the y-axis, it goes, that's at -5. So over here it's going to be at +5. The next point, it's at -2, so it's going to go to +2. And we draw the line. Okay, the next point here is at the -2 one, right? So that point going across the y, it stays there. And again, if you need to kind of look at this one. So if this is flipping over the y-axis, so you're taking that piece and flipping it over this way, and this one actually flips and goes over the other way. And so how is that curve going to be? So the easiest way to, like, is it going to go increasing like this, or is it going to go, oh, I guess it's both increasing. But anyways, it's going to go the other way, right? Do you guys agree? Yeah. Good. Okay, so now we have this next point right here, and so it's at 2 on the x, so we're going to go over here, and then we draw our line. And then the last one, we're going to reflect it over. We got it. Okay, domain and range. Very good. This one is now at -3, 5. And inequality form is perfect. And then our range. Good. -4, 0. And that would also be -4. Good. -4 less than or equal to y is less than or equal to 0. Okay, any questions? Am I going too fast? Do you guys want me to wait a second? Okay, last one. I normally have you guys do this one on your own, but because of time, we're going to do this together. Actually, do you guys feel like we need to do this one? You guys got it? Okay, we're going to skip that one. Are there any questions